Hello, everybody, and welcome to TableTakes. Today is March 19th, and we are starting to see sunshine and spring showers. And don't you know, it's a perfect time to just do some spring cleaning. Right, Derek? You're going to be spring cleaning for 2 weeks, I hear.
Spring unpacking. So this is the last day before vacation / move into the new house and get settled in and see what the reality of it is. And so we've got most of what we're going to paint painted now. Couch arrives tomorrow. Plumber on Monday. Packers on Monday. Movers on Tuesday. Mounted TV Tuesday. So it's going to be a wild rush of a week or two. And I'm hoping that we settle in quickly. So send us your good wishes.
Good wishes.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
It is. It's a lot, but it'll, like, once it's over, it will feel great, I'm sure.
Yeah, so then we'll see a new whole setup too in 2 weeks to upgrade.
Exciting.
Very exciting. And then what about you? I heard you went on an adventure, Emma. A very vast and noble adventure.
Yeah. Sad and happy times. My husband and I don't get out a lot, but inspired by tales of Korean corn dogs in this channel, we drove up to Edmonds, went on a nice drive, got out, which was nice. And then we got there, what's the name of it? The one that,
Mochi nut?
Mochi nut, yeah, mochi nut. It's inside a Happy Lemon, and we got there and it was packed. And we were like, there's like people outside, and there's many people inside there. And
I'm telling you, mochi nut is the truth, the way, and the light. It's delicious.
Yeah. No, we believe in the light. We want to go to there, but we decided not to risk it and maybe wait a few weeks or months or whatever and check it out later. When it's calmed down a little bit, or go on a weekday, because we went on a Saturday, which was probably the wrong choice. But if we go on a weekday, maybe a little earlier, might be a little less intense of a line in there. But there was a Zell's fried chicken there instead, so we got that. They have tasty rolls, and we ate that instead. So not a total loss, but I'm still dreaming of those Korean corn dogs.
Get it? I believe in you.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make it happen. There's also the one in SLU that's a lot closer, but I don't know if that's gonna be busier. So I don't know. We'll find a way.
The 2 times I've been to the one in I call it Slut. In SLU, the line's been pretty long. So
yeah,
it's because they're so good. I don't know. It's worth the wait. I waited in line 2 hours. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's dedication to your food. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what?
I know. It was
very good. Well, Isabella, what have you been up to this week, my dear?
What a great question. Last week, I threw my back out because my body is crumbling. I'm dissolving. I'm the crypt keeper. I am so close to death. And while I was cleaning my house, and then this week, I had a fortunate week of no meetings, no interviews, nothing. And so I cleaned my house. I took the linens to the laundromat. I put up things in frames. I finally framed art from conventions years long past.
Awesome.
I just really relaxed this week, and it was really, really great. I got involved. There were a couple of marches that I went to, and a couple of solidarity movements together with Black Lives Matter and the Asian American community. If you guys aren't aware, there have been a series of attacks against Asian Americans here in Seattle. It's been pretty substantial. And there was actually a pretty substantial attack that happened 2 weeks ago here in the ID. And so if you've noticed, it's been sort of happening all over the country. And there have been some organizations that have sort of sprung up that have been able to address these things. And I think that we're going to post them in the chat. There are some ways to get involved to quell Asian American hatred, which is decades long, centuries long in this country, but like it's good that we're like addressing it now. And there was also a really horrific attack that happened in the Bay Area to an elderly woman. Elderly people are being attacked a lot right now. Elderly people and children, which is cowardly and disgusting. So we're going to post the GoFundMe to help with the medical cost for this elderly woman who was attacked recently. You might have seen her video go viral because she was amazing. She picked up a stick and she mollywopped the dude who attacked her and beat him so bad that he needed the ambulance, which was bone apple teeth.
Isn't that a meme? Isn't that a meme of
bone
like,
apple teeth?
Call the ambulance. Not for me.
But not for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Life imitating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really great, even though, I seeing him get medical care and not her get medical care was very distressing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was really great to see this guy get his head get molly rocked into next year. And so it's been pretty awful, and it's ramped up significantly over the past year. And so I highly encourage anybody to get involved in any sort of local movements, charities, organizations, GoFundMes, to address these things that have been happening, because it's horrific, and it's not it's not where we should be in this country. It's where we're at, but it's not where we should be, and it's not where we can be. So yeah, that's it. Just trying to relax, clean my house, and then also take out the trash in this country. Take out the trash in my house, take out the trash in the country.
Time for spring cleaning, y'all.
It's time for spring clean. Everybody get cleaned out. That's
Oh, if only.
Yeah. No. Couldn't say it better than myself. But yeah, no. I guess for my update, I'm a little bit for me, I just try to. It's kind of overwhelming for someone like me, just as long as my aunts and uncles and of course my family are staying safe, because I do have a lot of family in San Francisco and stuff, and my mom is still on Guam, so she's good. And my grandma's staying inside her house. But on that note, my 12-year-old puppy he wasn't doing zoomies very much anymore. So now we got him some good old drugs, and now he's doing zoomies again. I guess is the best way I can say it. So no more hip pain. He's like, yeah, I can run again. So that's my news. My puppers, drug them up. But yes. But no, I digress. But yes, there is a lot of things that, pandemic has made people sit down and reflect what is wrong with a lot of society, at least here, because we are very American focused, because we are in America, about all the problems that we have. And I'll retell this message: Black Lives Matter, stop the Asian hate, and you know what? Trans people are people. Come on. No hating on them.
Dab.
I don't know. Dab.
Yes.
But on
dab
that
for
note,
emphasis.
we're going ahead and jump into the headlines here. And guess what? Hey, do you guys like free? I like free stuff, especially when it comes to like really awesome role-playing games. For all of you to peruse, the free edition of Worlds Without Number released. Basically, you can go into Drive-Thru RPG and get Worlds Without Number. I think a while ago. Okay, so reiterate, the Worlds Without Number is from the same creator that did Stars Without Number and other, it's a very OSR or old school revival classic. So if you're really, really into those kind of like games that are kind of like, you can bite into it, it's a little crunch to it, that this is for you. So instead of Stars Without Number, which is a very sci-fi-esque based, Worlds Without Number is the same almost thing, except in a fantasy realm. A lot of people use it, of course, because of their tools, the custom tools that everyone enjoys. And yeah, so that was like their Kickstarter was a while ago, and the creator just decided to be like, hey, you know what? I love OSRs. I want more people to get into OSRs. Here's it for free. So it's like a good, nice, easy entry point into that kind of gaming style with that. So
yeah, I think we covered it on Kickstarter in an episode last year or something like that. So, you know, people have been anticipating this for a while. Stars Without Number is very well received in the OSR community and in the sci-fi RPG community in general. A lot of times when someone's like, you know, I want to try something different, I want to play a sci-fi game, Stars Without Number is one of the ones that is very commonly recommended. So people were eagerly anticipating Worlds Without Number coming out, and kind of the creator, you know, I guess visiting a little more of a traditional D&D setting. And you know, it feels like it's going to be a really good entry point for folks who are curious about OSR stuff. Or folks who haven't gamed in a long time and kind of want to get back into it. The initial reports that people seem to have are that it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. So, plus it's free.
Cool. Yeah, there you go. So, guys, drive through RPG. Go ahead and pick that game up for yourself. On other news, Derek, can you tell us about the list of all lists to make lists?
It's true. We actually do have literally a list of lists, some of which have further sublists. So if anybody is not aware, ICv2 is a website that kind of covers the hobby game industry from like a retailer publisher standpoint. There's a lot of news about new games that are coming out or things that have happened. You may have noticed that a lot of the headlines we cover reference original coverage or kind of comprehensive coverage from ICv2. And one of the things that they release every quarter, I believe, is like a top 5 or a top 10 list, depending on the category, for different types of games through the hobby channel. And they have released their list for fall of 2020. And a lot of times we'll talk through this about how these lists are based off of both sales numbers, but also interviews they do with stores, some research that they do. Because of kind of how the hobby game industry is set up, it's a little difficult sometimes to get really concrete numbers. But if you're ever curious about like what are the most popular games in terms of what is selling or what stores seem to be stocking and moving, the ICv2 lists are pretty interesting things to take a look at. It usually ends up being a mix of a bunch of stuff you'd expect, and then 1 or 2 surprises, sometimes on the level of like, what the hell is that game? I've never heard of that before. So the first one maybe we want to look at is the top 10 hobby channel board games. So keep in mind, again, you know, this list doesn't include what like Target might be selling for family games or traditional games or something like that. This is stuff sold in what would identify as hobby stores. So game stores, you know, more hardcore kind of stuff. So the top 10 list has all the games you'd expect, you know, Pandemic, Root, Wingspan, Gloomhaven, all that kind of stuff is in there. I think we were surprised to see Monopoly, but you know, just, I guess it's going to be everywhere. Uno showed up on one of these lists later, which kind of surprised me too. You know, how many people are going to a game store to buy? I guess plenty is the answer. Unmatched was the one that I thought was an interesting surprise here, just because it's relatively recent. It's nice to see it in there because I only hear good things about it. And the graphic design is phenomenal on that. So it's really great to see Restoration Games having taken an older game, giving it an update, and then having that game be so successful. So that's fantastic to see. Another list is the top 5 role-playing games in terms of sales and whatnot. And does anybody want to hazard a guess as to what number 1 and number 2 might be? All right, well, you're all clearly stumped, so I'll let you know that it is D&D and Pathfinder.
Shocking.
Oh, no.
I was gonna say Ryutama.
No, it's what the list is, not what we wish that it would be, Emma.
Ooh.
So
Fiasco.
So D&D and
Looking
Pathfinder
at my list.
are definitely number 1 and number 2. They're always dominant in that regard. But I personally, as an RPG fan, find it really interesting to see how the other like 2, 3, or 3, 4, 5 cycle through basically. And for fall, it was Cyberpunk, Alien, and Fate, which is great. Cyberpunk isn't technically a new game, but it has not been current in a long time until the new edition that came out in the fall. So this indicates there was a huge demand for Cyberpunk when the video game came out. So I'm really happy that carried through to the actual RPG. Really happy that Artel Sorient got the new edition out and in stores. So it's fantastic to see people picking that up. Alien had been around for a little bit longer, but it is still a relatively new game. And you would think that it's kind of a narrow game too, but to see it in the top 5 is fantastic. We had a lot of fun when we played it a couple times. And then Fate, to see that in there. Fate's not a new game, but it doesn't usually break the top 5. And I do think that Fate, whether or not you end up playing it, Fate has such fascinating design elements for RPGs and stuff that you can just steal and borrow for just about any game you're going to play. Yeah. And I strongly recommend every role player pick it up, read it, and maybe give it a shot. So it's really fascinating seeing it in here too.
Yeah. I'm just looking if I could go down the list. I want to ask chat, does anybody know what Taco Cat goat cheese pizza is? I have no idea. And that just seems like somebody just was putting in names and then was Taco Cat goat cheese pizza. Like, I don't want to. Does anybody know what it is?
As a namer of games, I think it's a kind of name that makes people pay attention. So
that's true.
Yeah, there you go.
So Bonsai's referring to the top 10 hobby channel card or dice game list. And this is where I think there's a really interesting cycle almost every quarter, where there's a couple standouts that are always in there, but it always feels to be a mix of casual games, party games, and like 1 or 2 classics that really just kind of stick there forever. So like Codenames is in there. That's been a pillar since it came out, basically. Exploding Kittens is in there. Unstable Unicorns is in there.
Unstable Unicorns.
Werewolf, stuff like that.
Gosh,
it's great to see Coup in there.
Any games with kittens, with cats in them, with tacos
Unicorns
in it. Seeing Unstable Unicorns on this list is a pleasant surprise.
But what about Uno showed up here, which boggles my mind. But what about D&D Great Del Moody? Did you expect to see that pop up on this list?
I mean, I know, having seen this list before in previous years, back when I still worked at Mox, it definitely did not gel with my retail experience. So, I mean, I would very much say take this list with a grain of salt. You know, even looking at the number of Amazon reviews for some of these, they're all over the place, with Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza having like 20,000 reviews and Great Del Moody having like 100. So it's just like the sources of these numbers are definitely curious, I would say.
The only one that I'm kind of interested in when I was looking at the top collectible games is, I mean, none of this is surprising. Of course, Pokemon is going to be at the top. Yu-Gi-Oh! Still holding strong. I don't know why I completely...
Because you got to do.
Sorry.
Bonsai, that was the most amazing combination of dabbing and brushing off your shoulder at the same time.
No, because you got to.
No, that's how you duel.
No, I thought you dueled into the thing on your arm.
Yeah, you got to throw it.
Anyway.
I'm not that familiar with Flesh and Blood. This is the only one that's kind of surprising to me.
It seems like a newcomer.
Yeah, I've not seen it or heard of it.
I haven't heard much about it. I mean, like I know Dragon Ball Super. I've seen people play that. Cardfight Vanguard. It's very interesting to me, the mix of like Japanese games that are on here. It seems like there's more. There's kind of, and we'll talk about this later on in the episode, but there seems to be more of a mixing of Japanese anime, particularly influences in the card game sphere, which I think is really interesting. I have a lot of trauma around HeroClix, so I think I'm just going to go right past that. But I think I'm going to check out Flesh and Blood. I haven't really heard much about that one, so that's the only one that I was like, oh, I'll look into this.
Gosh, I was just having a conversation yesterday because I was talking a little bit about Keyforge, which we'll talk about in a bit. I was talking a little bit about Light Seekers. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Yep.
And I was saying, like, you know, a game, like, why even ever bother making a TCG? Like, you're just never, it's gonna, you can Scrabble against Magic and I guess Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, but mostly Magic. And it's just so hard to find a foothold there. But people keep chasing after that, those sweet bucks, right? That's the TCGs.
You should have been there. You should have been there in the late 90s, early 2000s when like the chase was hot and constant and burning. Like it's actually weirdly nostalgic now for me to go to a booth at a convention for the retailer who has all those booster boxes of the card games from that era. And you see like the ridiculous stuff that came out.
TCG, the Warcraft. Yeah.
I think I still have a deck for that in my desk somewhere.
I buy those just because there's pets that you can actually get in World of Warcraft if you get the special cards in the physical boxes, and that's the only way to get those pets now.
I'll check to see if I still have the pet card for you. How about that?
Oh,
because I think mine is like 8 years old, 10 years old.
You might have just thrown it away though. It's just an extra card that comes in there.
Emma, this is me.
Okay.
I don't throw things away. Okay, it might be in my desk somewhere if I was given it.
Dude, like, you just can't get these pets. I'm trying to catch them all. Okay, I'm trying to catch all the World of Warcraft pets, and there's ones you just can't get anymore. And it's, anyways.
So the other thing that struck me on these lists, kind of jumping from collectible games, both collectible and non-collectible miniatures games. One thing that kind of annoys me is D&D minis are put on both of these lists because some D&D minis are collectible, some are not collectible, but they're put on the list alongside, quote unquote, like, I guess, real games or games that the minis are directly for. Whereas the D&D minis are there to support D&D play. There's not really the D&D miniatures game anymore, not significantly, certainly. So it's a little weird for me to see them on there because, like, they're the number 2 non-collectible miniatures game, which on the one hand kind of puts the miniatures of the other games in the miniatures market behind 40K in perspective. But I think it also speaks to the volume of people who are playing D&D, especially now, who are probably, we probably have a lot of people who are getting into D&D, buying miniatures for the first time, building up their collections. Which is also just a fascinating thing to imagine. But anyway, I really like checking out these lists, seeing where things go up and down. But to Emma's point, like, this is not a thing that I would base business decisions on, for example, or, put your entire stock of your identity into. This does not say what game is better than the other.
Yeah, or purchasing decisions, right?
Yeah. This is definitely a non-exact ranking of kind of sales volumes from a number of different metrics. So it's interesting. I think it's thought-provoking, and it's kind of fun to dig into, but, don't take it too seriously.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. While we muddle over what we should place in the placement mat, there are some people that are just like, you know what? I need a new me. Emma, can you tell us about, like, just being like, all right, new I transform.
Yeah, new identity. Rebranding, if you will. White Wizard Games is now Wise Wizard Games. White Wizard Games LLC, makers of Star Realms, is one of their best known games. They've announced that they changed their names to Wise Wizard Games. As the company continues to expand, they want to have a name that best represents their vision and their community. Actually talked to them, I think it was last year at PAX East, and at the time Debbie from the company had pink hair, I had pink hair, and I was just like, why don't we just pink Wiccan, right? Just go to the pink, go to the witches. Wizards have had their time. But yeah, so good to know, if you're looking out for these games, you want to know the company that you're looking for to find them, White Wizard Games, now Wise Wizard.
Yeah, and they can still keep the WWG on there, it's a nice clean with that. But on other related news, hey, are you a weeb? Are we all weebs? Who's here that is a weeb? Isabella, can you tell us?
Call out, wow.
Well, I'm a weeb. I said that I am too.
First of all, weeb is a slur, okay? And no, just kidding.
I was like, what?
It's like Karen is a slur, and no.
Oh gosh.
Yes, no, I fully embrace my role as the resident anime otaku weeb of the Koreaboo, whatever you want to call me, of TableTakes. It's fine. I'm a huge fan of this anime where a bunch of high school kids get molly rocks into next week, typically by adults who beat the heck out of them week by week. That's right, I'm talking about My Hero Academia, one of the hottest animes and the biggest animes of our time. It's coming out with a card playing game. I'm very excited about this. Originally teased at Gen Con 2019, the My Hero Academia CCG from @Jasco Games is hitting the market in mid-2021, allowing you to play out the battle scene on the anime. I'm very excited about this because of the fact that you get to engage with, if you want to be one of the characters from the game, then you get to engage in the card game. This is not the all-out Smash Bros. Street Fighter type video game that I really wanted, but it's close. I'll take it. I think that this is also a really cool card games. Collectible card games are really big in Japan, and especially like for every anime, there's always a collectible card game that kind of comes out, and so it seems like that's becoming more popular here in the West as well. What it seems like is that you're getting to be specific heroes. You get card decks that you can collect with different kind of boosts and different kind of skills and things like that, and you use those to go up against other heroes. I don't see anything in this article that talks about if you get to be different villains. I'm only seeing that you get to go up against other heroes, which is really interesting. Because to the surprise of no one, my favorite characters in My Hero Academia are the villains, obviously. That's my brand.
You like the ones like these?
I know that guy, I don't like him because every time I look at him, I'm like, God, he needs lotion. He's so ashy. His skin is so dry. It's so gross to me. My favorite character is this character named Toga, who this also is not healthy, but she's like an extreme fangirl. And she is like obsessive, and her power is that when she has your blood, she can transform into you. And she usually licks the blood. She's an obsessive fangirl, and she's my favorite. She's a complete psychopath. She's my favorite.
I am shocked.
I know.
Vampires, that's great, right, Derek? Right up your alley.
Not all who lick blood are vampires. But the thing that I find really amusing about the My Hero Academia is that it's using the same universes system that Jesco's used for apparently Cowboy Bebop, Soul Calibur, Mortal Kombat. So like my immediate thought was, this sounds like some sort of panel at an anime convention that's going to be like, could the My Hero Academia heroes defeat the Mortal Kombat heroes? And then you just have like an hour-long debate about that. And I guess now we have proof. The cards can figure it out for us.
Just play out the combat. Yeah. Just play them all together, it seems like, right?
Yeah, there you go.
That's true. I mean, it's a very strange sort of tone, the Soul Calibur Mortal Kombat versus My Hero Academia, which is kind of more on the real superpower is the friendship we made along the way. Like it's
I like that.
It's a different kind of a tone. No, I think you would really like it, Emma. It's actually like a very cute show. I mean, the kids they're superheroes and they're always getting beaten up and stuff like that. but it is very much about like the real powers is the power of love.
Yeah. I just rewatched Korra. I forgot how much she's just like tortured and traumatized through that whole show. So yeah, kids and teenagers getting beaten up. I'm like, wow, this just happens in most of these shows.
You know, it's a metaphor. You know, when you're a teenager, you get beaten up, but then you know what you do after that?
Hugs?
No, just kidding.
You go
you
Neverland is a
back up
lie.
again.
That's where you go. You go Neverland is a lie. I like it.
Make out.
Yes.
Now we kiss.
Yeah, so there's no information about when exactly the release date is. But this is a really interesting idea, and I think that maybe post Pan Pizza, that we might see more of these card games, particularly anime influenced card games, maybe at conventions and maybe more tournaments and things like that, which I think is going to be really interesting. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, now it is time for Derek's favorite part, Grim Derek with the Grim Derek news. Grim.
He
like
has the villain cat.
Tell me,
villain
threaten to blow up the world unless we give you $1 billion, Derek.
And then do this.
No, I can't. Too far. Okay, you ruined it. But this weekend, for Warhammer fans, this weekend should prove fairly eventful. So first, there is a big Warhammer preview tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. There's a Faith and Damnation preview they're going to do online again. They're a little vague on the details, but the preview silhouettes from the models suggest they'll have some archers, and they'll have some probably Adeptus Mechanicus cyborg guys or something like that. And it's covering Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Underworlds, and Necromunda, which also just had a video game announced. If you care about that, you might want to go check out the trailer. So that will be tomorrow morning. Similarly, tomorrow morning, the Games Workshop website will open up for pre-orders for a number of new releases, including a Piety and Pain box set that has the Sisters of Battle plus the Dark Eldar Drukhari. The Dark Eldar Drukhari are also going to have their codex and accessories and all that kind of finally released. It also will see when the first campaign book will finally be released. We talked about the contents of the War of Caradon Book of Rust, the first act of it, basically last week. I think there were some preview rules. There's some more previews on the the Warhammer community website. So if you're curious about that, you can check that out. But we wanted to make sure to note this because, particularly with kind of COVID inventory limitations, Games Workshop has had a little bit of a problem in supply lately for a lot of their new releases. So if you are a Dark Eldar fan, if you are a Sisters of Battle fan, if you want to pick up the battle box, you probably want to get ready tomorrow to be able to order it right when it goes up tomorrow morning. And then the final kind of bit of surprise or news coming out, which continues to tickle me pink, even though I haven't bought any of them yet, is Bandai doing these huge, like, Space Marine action figure model set things. I mean, the moment they come out with a Death Guard Plague Marine one, I'm getting one of those. But they have done, I think, Imperial Fists, Ultramarines, Salamanders, and now they've announced White Scars. So it's ridiculous. It's fun. It's way too big for you to use in your actual Warhammer army, but maybe it's a new kind of thing you can branch out into. And I think those are sold through Bandai, so those should be going up for sale soon. And that is all of the fun, excitement, and happiness from the grimdark future.
Thank you, Grim Derek. Now, on other related news, it seems to be like some people are there. There's going to be a little bit more changes coming in with what is going to be released and not released. Emma, since you're a resident game designer, tell us a little bit about that.
Z-Man Games has announced that it is ending its Euro Classics line and canceling upcoming releases. So there's a There's been some tweets. There's a article that they posted from Z-Man Games, Dicebreaker article. And so these are classic out-of-print games that were given modern revisions for before re-release, such as Taj Mahal, Samurai, Ra, Through the Desert, and Tigris and Euphrates. Honestly, if you go to the Dicebreaker article, I haven't played these games myself, but they're a little cultural appropriative, you know? So when we're talking about these classic games, saying, you can't just look back and say this game existed in the past and that means it's good. You know, I think we have a different lens and have potentially moved on from some of these things. All of these were originally designed by Rainer Knizia, who did touch-ups for new editions. Prince of Florence, the next title, not designed by Knizia, was canceled. The designer Wolfgang Kramer wanted to add a co-op mode. There's multiple reasons cited for this. Z-Man is no longer an India studio, has bigger titles. You know, every company needs to make decisions about how they're going to survive and grow as a company. And sometimes that means not being able to infinitely reprint games, even if you want to. The market has changed since the games were originally released. You know, there's a lot more games these days. There's a lot more Euro games. I think a really big part of this is game design has changed over the years, and we've learned a lot about game design. We make better games these days. Like, as harsh as it is to say, we've gotten better at designing things. And so as nostalgic as you might be for these older games, they might just need to be phased out at some point. There were a few comments throughout this article in particular created by Z-Man that were a little questionable. You know, they had some call outs, they had some dropping of names within it, where, you know, it's okay to announce and say, hey, we're not going to do this anymore and be upfront with your audiences. But when you get to the point of saying, you know, it's someone's fault, or we weren't supported enough, or we didn't have the
Bitter.
big names.
You're looking for the word bitter.
Bitter, yes. A little bitter about not getting support from certain British people. It's like, oh, if the right British people talk about your game, then you're successful. And if not, then not. So yeah, it's an announcement, it's news, but also time marches on. You know, not every game is going to be successful forever.
Yeah, and blaming the influencers on your
exactly.
lack of being picked up by, you know, more people is it's weird. It's a weird sort of a thing to complain about, that people aren't, that your game isn't trendy or popular. I don't know. When I read this, I was kind of reading between the lines, and it felt very old man shakes fists at kids who are into the trendy, you know, neo pronouns. Like, it felt very bitter.
Yeah.
And so bon chance to them. But time marches forward.
Yeah, like I certainly agree, and I think we all need to understand and accept that just because we fell in love with particular games 10, 15, 20 years ago doesn't mean that those games are as relevant now as they were then, that they're going to maintain that prominence. Like, I think you see the same thing happen with comic books. You see it with movies, with books, with any sort of entertainment. Things will progress. They're going to be different. The market is going to be different. And I can certainly, it's a very reasonable stance to take, that the market is different now. The same type of games aren't successful, and that makes me as a person sad because I like those games. That's perfectly reasonable position to take. But, you know, lamenting that, you know, you need to have an influencer pick your game out from the crowd, and then thus everyone will follow it and it will be successful. You know, I just feel like that's not a particularly good or healthy position to take as a creator, because that's all, like, the odds are you're not going to have that kind of success. So you're just kind of setting yourself up to be unhappy and frustrated.
Yeah. I mean, I've explored a lot over especially the past year, my taste in games, my taste in books, my taste in movies, like this is a time of reassessment, you know, and looking back on these things, both mechanically and culturally, and saying like, are these still relevant in our times? Damn, sometimes you just gotta let that stuff go and make room for stuff that is more appropriate to where we are now as a culture.
Although I do wish that, you know, like this is the thing that comes up with video games a lot too. I do wish that we had a better system for archiving, cataloging, preserving the history of games. You know, I don't think that we're particularly good at that right now. I wish there was a simple solution to that, but you should all buy our old games is definitely not the actual solution.
Archives. Hey, Gen Con. I mean, you had the museum thing, right, in 2019, or the showcase at Gen Con for the history of it. Like, yeah, history and archives, and an archive, right, of games.
Yeah, well, that is something to be like, hey, things need to change, or, you know, like, or just if you're really, really nostalgic for it, you could just find your copy and just, you know, keep it for yourself, you know, kind of thing, pass it down to your kids if you want to. But, you know, we move on so we can have new blood come in and bring in a new era of gamedom. But now, speaking of which, let's go ahead. You know what? Who are you going to call when, you know, who are you going to call? Also, is it going to be the Men in Black or Ghostbusters? I don't know. Who should we call, Isabella?
I was so hoping that you were going to sing the Ghostbusters theme song and then go into the Men in Black theme song.
But I lost the pack. I was like, who are you going to call? Galaxy Defender.
Yes!
There you go.
That was good. That slaps. Yes, bringing back two of my favorite Saturday morning cartoons, actually, which I don't know if anybody remembers, but the Men in Black Saturday morning cartoon and the Ghostbusters Saturday morning cartoon. This is the crossover I never knew I wanted, but now I do want. Derek, was that a no? Is that a
no? I'm just, it's one of those things where it's surprising. It's the kind of announcement you don't expect to see in like the modern day, but then you see it, you're like, cool. Like,
this is a great crossover. Like,
I'm not denying
Ghostbusters and Men in Black. It's great. Even though one of my friends says that the Men in Black are the cops of aliens and the Ghostbusters are the cops of ghosts.
Oh, no.
Yeah, fair. That's a good point.
And so ever since I thought about that, I was like, wow. Anyway, there's IDW Games and Panic Games are releasing the Men in Black Ghostbusters Ecto-Terrestrial Invasion, which is a crossover of the two franchises, which is really great. I think that this is a really cool idea because of the fact that these two franchises have had, you know, kind of not so successful revivals. So why not make them into games? And so you have dice towers. The whole thing is like really, really cute. It reminds me a lot of Saturday morning cartoons. Like it just has this kind of like cartoony, comic booky kind of a quality.
I think they're definitely hitting the right kind of nostalgia note to mix the two of them together. Because in the 80s, you could totally imagine like a mini-series crossover or, you know, cartoon episode where they cross over or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I kind of feel like they should do that again. I feel like they should do a cartoon crossover. I would definitely watch that. So this is a semi-cooperative board game in which players can pair up as members of the Ghostbusters or members of Men in Black. I don't know if you'll be able to play as like the characters that you know from the Men in Black or the characters from Ghostbusters. The characters that are in the preview images look vaguely reminiscent of the characters from the franchises, but maybe you can just make up your own Ghostbuster Sona, your own Men in Black Sona. Mine would be Mrs. Price, and it would just be me in a black suit, which is not that exciting. So yes, you've got all the different kinds of rules, different kinds of die. It's very cute. And it looks like it's going to be coming out this fall. It's got great artwork by the writer of the Ghost. So it's a story-driven. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time talking about this. It's the story-driven campaign written by the Ghostbusters comic writer Eric Burnham. It's got art by Sonic the Hedgehog artist Jack Lawrence, Goosebumps artist Chris Finoglio. Yep, nailed it. Dungeons and Dragons versus Rick and Morty artist Leonardo Ito. This is hitting like a very specific demo of person. And Luis Antonio Delgado, which is another Ghostbusters. And it's got these really, another Ghostbuster artist, and it's got really great miniatures as well by the artist Hector Moran. Also, my cat is running ham wild, which you guys cannot see. But I knew this was going to happen. Pyewacket, please stop. So yes, anyway, this is Pyewacket. I'm sorry, you guys. Yes, so that's coming out this fall. You can play. I'm very excited about this. I want the television show, and I want the animated. Pyewacket's also very excited too.
All right. Well, now we could go ahead and I think we need to forge ahead, right, Emma, onto our next topic. Yeah.
Remember Keyforge? I remember Keyforge because I bought all my friends' packs because I was so excited about it when it came out and I wanted everyone to play. And then stuff happened, and probably in part due to this being inside and away from people for a year, kind of fell off the train for that. But co-op is coming to Keyforge, and they're releasing a free version of it. So that's pretty cool. It's based on the underwater setting from Dark Tides, which is a recent release. I've kind of fell off keeping track of it. Use whatever deck players want to fight the Key Kraken. Yes, that's a pun, because of course in Keyforge you have the amber, and you get enough amber and you make keys, and yeah, it's like a whole thing. But they're releasing these free adventures. You can just get the rules and play it with the decks that you already have. So that's pretty cool. I think, especially now when you might just have another person. I haven't been playing Keyforge in quite a while, but the idea of playing it cooperatively with the really cool, unique mechanics in it is actually pretty exciting. So I'm interested to check out the co-op mode, and it's free. So more fun stuff to do with the decks you have.
All right. And last but not least, hey, Derek, you have something that everybody wants to hear about, right?
Everybody, every single person wants to hear that Gen Con merch is 60% off through the end of March. So our merchandising partner, Offworld, is still retiring soon, and they've got a big sale going on their website. So if there's any Gen Con merch that you have been seeing and wanting to get a copy of your own or anything like that, you can get them 60% off right now through March.
Very, very cool. Well, now, you guys, we would normally here on this show be telling you all about the bundles, but I think we're going to go ahead and have a change of pace. And you know what? Gen Con going for good, doing charitable things with Isabella, please.
Okay, I love that. So not to bring it down, but you might have heard of the recent murders that happened in Atlanta, Georgia. And we wanted to kind of take this time to do a little bit of good. There's an organization called Red Canary Song, which advocates for migrant workers who work in the sex work industry. Basically what they do is they use labor rights organization. There is no major labor rights organization that advocates for people who work in massage parlors and who are migrant people or immigrants that come into this country. And there are, I believe, close to, I know there's over 5,000 different sort of massage parlors and places like that. They are sites of heavy trafficking. They have no advocacy service for them whatsoever. And Red Canary Song is the only advocacy service for those laborers in the entire country, which is really, really wild. And these people who work in this industry, they get kind of the worst of a lot of different things. They are regularly raided by police, who are regularly violent with them, who take advantage of them. They are completely disenfranchised due to their immigration status, whether they're documented or undocumented, and they have no sort of rights as laborers in this country as well. And so it's their working conditions, their wages. They have no advocacy for themselves, and they're just really kind of people who are left on the margins of our society based upon the crossing of gender, sexuality, the nature of the sex workers' rights in this country and how restrictive that is, how draconian that is in this country, and also the age-old American value of racism. And it just kind of crosses through and impacts these people to where we just sort of forget that they even exist. And Red Canary Song is an advocacy group for them. And they do incredible work fighting up against things that are just at the center of everything that's going on in this country right now. So we're going to put up a way to connect you guys to Red Canary Song, to their group and their organization. Please check them out. Please, if you cannot do any kind of donation or anything like that, please share their work with other people. Because what they do is so important. The solution for a lot of these issues is not more police. The solution for them is to connect through social work, through different kind of advocacies, labor rights, through decriminalization of sex work, and through sort of reevaluating the things in our society that make these people so vulnerable for harm. And these people are at the center of so much harm that happens, not only just kind of the violence that we've seen in Atlanta, but also different kinds of ways in which our society kind of takes advantage of people that are marginalized. So this is for sex workers, migrant workers. Their name is Red Canary Song. They're the only organization in the country that is servicing, I think it's between 5,000 and 8,000 different massage parlors and organizations or businesses like this in the country. So please check them out and please donate and please help in any kind of way that you can. Because what happened in Atlanta is horrific. And like I said earlier, we can do so much better than where we are in this country right now. So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, yes. Just Red Canary Song. Go ahead and look out there. There's a lot of organizations you can go ahead, spread information about organizations that can help and not idolize the person who perpetrated it. That's what we want to do. Anywho, sorry for the quick whiplash of topics. Now we're going to go ahead and do a speed round of Kickstarters. Can we go ahead and start our races? Beep, beep, beep. Kickstarter queen.
Do I have to hold up a gun and just shoot when we're ready to go?
There.
Ready? Bang.
I'm ready. All right.
Let's get
First up, Gabrasaur Dice. Dice, Sparkles, and Dinosaurs. 4 days left, ending Tuesday, March 23rd. Dice sets for people who like natural 20s, natural 1s, and all the numbers in between. This is dice, so of course I was going to talk about it, but wait, there's more. We talk about dice a lot, but these colors are picked by a 3-year-old who I must say has excellent taste. Derek thinks this is hilarious. Seriously, look on the page. This kid's dad had the kid point to the colors they like, and this is what resulted, and they look amazing. All these are like better colors of dice than most of the dice that I see. So they have awesome colors. They have sparkles in them. You'll love to see it. Check out Gabrasaur Dice with 4 days left.
All right, I'm taking the baton Next, we have Sins, Spawns of Millions with 4 days left. This is a dark fantasy skirmish board game. Basically, what you have is some really cool, amazing creature design, and it looks super goth, and I picked it because of the fact that there's really awesome monsters. It's deck building. You have 14 different characters. You have a really cool starter deck. You can, I love the strategies, which goes on to the 7 deadly sins. So you can kind of explore each of those. There's a lot of different lore. The artwork is amazing. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I love the color work. There's a really great narrative kind of lore that goes deeper into this. Basically, you're just trying to defeat your enemies by bringing destruction and evil tactics by using the 7 deadly sins. And it looks really awesome. And I love the miniatures. So that is Sins, Spawns of Millions with 4 days left. Moving on, did I do this to the thing? With 6 days left, do you love cats? I have a cat. She gives me endless amounts of joy, and by joy, I mean my ankles are so bloody from her sharp, razor sharp, teeny tiny baby claws. In order to commemorate my beautiful cat, Pyewacket, there is a Black Cat RPG hard enamel pin series. I love this so much. I think I'm going to get the Lich one because it's super adorable. But there is a series of hard enamel pins where all the cats are after all of the different RPG classes. And so you can collect all the pins and they have, you know, Mage, Ranger, they have all the different ones. They're super, super adorable. Get them in honor of Pyewacket, the cat. If you love collecting pins as much as I do, these pins are super adorable. So that is Black Cat RPG Series 2, 6 days left. Get yourself some cool Black Cat themed RPG pins.
Up next, we have Sabotage with 6 days left, ending Thursday, March 25th. Friendships are made with boba tea that is. Relationships are destroyed with Sabotage. I love the name of it. It's a cute, light boba tea themed set collection game with a very heavy take that element. So be aware if you do back this game, there is a lot of take that to it. There's cute art. I actually really like the video. I don't watch a lot of videos for the Kickstarters because sometimes they're a little cringy, but this one was just very warm and heartfelt and lovely, a little bit corny, just like I love. This game is designed by Eric Chen. Has a lot of play testers. So this game sounds like it came together very quickly. So I'm always a little concerned about that, but the playtester list is huge. So a lot of people have played this and enjoyed it. It just has a lot of heart and cute art and a cute theme. So if those things sound good to you, you should check it out. Sabotage with 6 days left.
All right, up next, hey, we got expansion packs available for you. Hey, this is Everdell, New Leaf, Mistwood, and the complete collection that you can get. Everdell, if you aren't familiar, is a kind of like card build deck builder plus resource management type of game. So instead of just they're coming out with 2 different tiles, New Leaf, Mistwood. Mistwood is actually supposed to be a single solo player, 2-player version of Everdell, which is quite exciting to me. But ultimately, the big cool thing is that because there are so many expansions for this game, they're also offering a big old box of storage, which on the scale of can it be weaponized, I say yes. It is a very weaponized box you can get, but I feel like that's a one-time improv weapon use because the corners are what you need to make sure you get through in life. But if you ever wanted to go ahead and be like, ooh, such cute art, ooh, I love all of the ideas of this, well, hey, you can finally get $199 if you want to go ahead and get it, and it comes with like a lot of special tokens. You can also order extra things. I have already backed this Kickstarter myself. That's why I'm like, yeah, hey, animals, cute, fluffy. It's very easy to settle. Like, if you give resource management plus cute, fluffy animals, it applies to me, but also make the box weaponizable. It's the basics anybody wants, improv weapon plus cute animals. But yeah, that has 6 days left. Thursday, March 25th, Everdell, New Leaf, Mistwood, and Complete Collection.
Also with 6 days left is Gift of Tulips, Journey to Amsterdam's Tulip Festival in this game of gifting for 2 to 6 friends. This is published by Weird Giraffe Games and designed by Sarah Perry. I've been looking a little bit into this game because big fan of Weird Giraffe Games. It looks like there's a fair amount of strategy and crunch in a small package. So you're going to be gifting tulips, which are the cards, to other people, keeping some for yourself and building bouquets with them, and then putting some face down for a tuning the scoring condition. So absolutely beautiful art for this game. And then some complexity to it all comes in a very tight package. Weird Giraffe Games are definitely known for having a lot of just meat to them for the size of the box and for what you get. So lovely art, great game. Gift of Tulips with 6 days left. With 8 days left, we have Death Valley. I am personally very excited about this because I got to play test it in my playtest group. I've tested this game several times. Every time, absolutely loved it. This is the newest game from Button Shy Games. It's a wallet game, which means there's 18 cards, comes in a very small, tight package. And again, just a ton of game packed into this package. It's a 1 to 2 player press your luck tableau builder set in the hazardous Death Valley. Only $10, designed by Kevin Ellenberg. And it's just the art of it. I love the desert theme, and you're going to be playing out cards in your tableau for your scoring condition and then taking cards back. And it's just fun, very tight, very well-designed strategy. I had a lot of great times play testing this game. So you should definitely check out Death Valley with 8 days left.
All right. And our last Kickstarter of the day is Cultivate with 9 days left, Sunday, March 28th. Hey, you ever wanted to be part of a cult? Well, this is the game for you. So basically, it's a take that, which is basically, hey, you like making your friends very, very, very salty and sabotaging them at any point. Well, this is basically you all are different cult leaders, and your whole idea is that you have to grow and captivate, grow your following, reap all the rewards, and plot your agenda that most suits your particular cult leader. It's a 5-player competitive strategy game with pattern building and sabotage or take that mechanics. Each player, it's very simple. You draw cards, add followers to your compound. Different followers are worth different points based on, of course, what your cult leader is looking for in their community. So I kind of thought it was like just a fun little like idea. It's a cute in its own, drink the Kool-Aid kind of way. It looks like a lightweight game with fun themes. It's not quite a party game, but it's definitely like, hey, I just played like this really hard Euro game. We're gonna go do a different game, but let's just like have a good like crumpet cookie filler game to be in the between the snackage games. So yes, that's Cultivate with 9 days left, Sunday, March 28th. Whew. Well, folks, I hope that Kickstarter race wasn't too whiplashy for you. So hey, guess what, folks? I know you're all excited to hear more news about what's going on with Gen Con. And so hey, we got something for you. If you want to go ahead and stick around right after this, we're going to have a couple of folks coming in. Jordan is going to be coming in, talking and announcing about Gen Con's, why Gen Con dates have changed, what you can be looking forward to, what you're going to be expected to see. That's going to be happening right after this. So, hey, stick around. So if you want to know all the details, all the information based on that. Hey, this stream isn't just TableTakes. We have a whole slew of shows that are all, of course, in Pacific time. Guess what's happening this Monday? Monday at 4 p.m., there will be a Disney Villainous tournament sponsored by Ravensburg. It's going to be from 4 to 6 p.m. And then right afterwards, we're going to have board games with the Brothers Murph. They're two brothers. They play board games. What more do you need to know? Wednesday, of course, this game gets dicey at 1:30 p.m. It's two friends playing a game while they're in two different areas, two different parts of the globe, trying to figure out how to put these pieces together. And Friday, 2 p.m. TableTakes. We have uproared against Derek and said, we don't want you here anymore. We're going to bring somebody else new. Just joking.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
no, Derek is great.
No, Derek is taking a vacation to move right now. And we're just giving him time to slowly put his life back together, so while Derek is going through this very, very stressful period, we're going to have a new host coming in, a special guest host, Noir Enigma, filling in. And it's going to be very, very fun. And there's going to be interviews with the creators of Capers as well afterwards. So we're all wishing you luck, Derek, on your move. May it be less stressful and, a magical baby raccoon appear on your doorstep as soon as you're done moving.
A baby raccoon that's dressed up to look like it's a cat.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a cat. Who's to say if it's a raccoon or a cat?
If I find out that
There's
you
no way to
smuggled
know.
raccoons in for my wife, Bonsai, we will have words.
Well, just remember to follow, subscribe, turn on those notifications. If you miss our live streams here on Twitch, don't worry, we're on YouTube. Just 24 hours later, you can catch up with that. Put a little comments, like and subscribe to that. If you also want to connect with other Gen Con fans, Gen Conians, I'm going to keep saying it until it sticks. Check out our official Discord afterwards. Thank you, of course, Emma, Isabella, Derek, for being here and seeing your beautiful smiling faces. And also thank you for the background voice of Marcus, hiding in the shadows. For Marty.
In his crop top.
Crop top, yeah.
In his crop top. But yes, have a wonderful evening and stick around if you want that sweet Gen Con news. Bye.
Bye.